Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 2023 season of Rutherford County Football and Stork Vision. And we got our first stop, and I'm here with the head coach of the Rockvale Rockets, head coach Brian Guthrie. How you doing today, Coach?
Man, fantastic, but I'll get better.
Well, it's kind of over, and we're now into the real grind. You were in, I guess, what I would call fall prep grind, and then you do two-a-days, early morning, first day in pads. You were out here at midnight, wrapped it up last Friday night with a scrimmage against Ravenwood.
Right.
How's things been going?
It's been going great. Our kids have responded really well to what we're doing. They bought in. Just real excited about this season.
Quarterback-wise, it's no secret you've gotten back your gun, and talk a little bit about that, how important it is. You know, I was at the Stewart's Creek game, which was one of the first games you had after you had lost him, and he's on the sideline, smiling as always. What a great kid Brendan Mayhew is, but it became real clear real quick, and nothing against the other gentleman that tried to come in, but without the other 10 guys knowing that we've got the guy back here that can take us down the field, and everybody knows where everybody is, and habits and passes coming out fingertips and all that stuff. It's really important, isn't it?
It's huge.
Especially in high school.
I can't say enough about Brennan, just about the person he is.
Yes.
He's a great leader. He's a good Christian. He's a team kid. He's a team guy. Does everything we ask him to do. I just can't say enough about him and his character. But then Malachi, who came in for us last year, has grown tremendously. He ain't got a lot taller, but he has grown tremendously in his game. Looked really good the other night.
And that experience last year of him getting in there, huge. Even though it's not what we want. We don't want to be trying to train in the middle of the game.
It won't be as much of a drop-off as it was last year with him and with the experience that he got, and he's looking really good too. But yeah, Brennan's the guy. He kind of goes, he goes sometimes, but I'm just real excited. I like what we're doing offensively. Brennan's the guy that kind of makes all that go.
Defensively, Coach Rick Rice pointed out last year when we were on that broadcast on one of those first games how aggressively you all were playing, and really attacking and everything as that continued.
Yes, I mean Coach Delt's got a lot of fire in him. He's our defensive coordinator, and he gets those guys up and going. And Coach Argo who is a buddy of mine from. We went to high school together, and he actually played for my dad.
He new on the staff?
He was here last year.
Okay, he was here last year.
Yeah, he's the guy. He's the only hire I had last year. I keep telling him he's the best hire I ever made, and then I follow it up with you're
he's the only hire.
So he's got a ton of energy and fire in him, and those guys they do a great job, and I think we're going to be that. I think we're going to be very similar this year. I think we're faster as a defensive unit than we've ever been. Hopefully those guys can rally and make plays and make tackles and get some turnovers. It sure makes life on the other side a lot easier.
A practice field. You had a practice field, but it wasn't much of a practice field.
We had a field that we practiced on.
Yeah, that's it. And now we've got a practice field. Just having a place that's yours and where you guys could do it, and it's not on the main because we've got real grass here. You actually get to smell everything when you come in after it's been freshly cut and all that. But people have no idea. I mean, you can add scoreboards, you can add air conditioning to your press box, you can add you'd love to have a $4.5 million facility, I'm sure, but at the same time, really satisfied with just getting a practice field, a place where you guys can do what you need to do for the allotted time you have with them.
Yeah, since it was just an area, a grassy area, it had a lot of rocks and stumps. And, a couple of weeks in, it was dirt because the grass that was out there doesn't really repair itself. So being able to we brought in about 30 loads of dirt, put irrigation out there, and put $30,000 worth of sod, Bermuda sod out there that will actually, if we water it, it'll kind of repair itself. So hopefully it'll last us through the season. Just having that simple thing that everybody else has has been huge for us. I mean,
Yeah.
the kids have loved it.
Now, will it be
negative,
used for any other things other than football, or is that it?
Well, I mean, no, not really.
Discus track may go over there.
Yeah, I mean, whoever, yeah. But it's still just an 80-yard field, but it's sufficient. And but our game field's kind of suffering a little bit because while we were getting that done, we had to do spring practice on our game field. We had to do all the month of June on our game field, and that was right in the peak of the early growing season. So, you know, it kind of took a beating. So it's not where I'd like it to be, but you know, it is what it is, and we've got to deal with it. And you know, we had to do it because we were building that other field, that practice field. So we're happy, and you know, like I said, we're fixing to start working on our turf program, and so
That's not cheap.
no, it's not cheap.
Hopefully, some big donor will come in and throw you some money.
Yeah,
You know?
I thought Stork Vision might write us a check.
I tell you what, if we could, we would. I would do it in a heartbeat.
I think us and Riverdale, you know, are the only two in town left.
And they got an indoor facility, kind of help them with their locker rooms. And you're in dire need of that. People don't realize going back in over there and that's a train wreck.
I would rather have a field house first, but because we're landlocked, we don't have a place for our freshmen to practice. I mean, we had to work out a deal with the middle school baseball coach so we could use their outfield for our freshmen to practice on because there's just no space for them to practice. So that's why a turf field is going to be huge for us. Not because we want to be fancy and look pretty, really. And I mean, that'll be nice, but we need that space, that extra space to practice. I mean, our soccer, you know, teams, I mean, middle school soccer and the high school soccer use the same
Also
field.
Increases lacrosse. You can play lacrosse.
So
and it's such it kills your field.
We need it for space.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the big thing, and plus the use that our field gets. So it's just a no-brainer that we have to do it. But we really need a field house too. So you know, we got to take what we can get and keep going, moving forward.
You just need about $1.5 million.
I need more than that. Need more than that.
So we need a big donor.
Yeah,
we need several big donors.
We're working, and you know, as long as we're moving forward and things are progressing, then we're heading in the right direction.
What's changed? You've been head coach. You know, you go through your first season, and now you're starting number 3. And what's the biggest thing you think Coach Guthrie is? Is it time management, or is it what's changed just as far as?
Well, working for Greg and David Watson and you know, that other guy, I was always kind of doing a lot of that stuff underneath them, a lot of that head coaching stuff that you know, and so me taking over, I had to find guys that could do that stuff for me, and
right.
So you know, delegating and finding the right pieces and where they go, you know, what our coaches were good at, finding their strengths and what they were good at and what they could do to take off my plate, because that first year my head was spinning.
Yeah, no doubt.
So those guys have done a great job. Coach Cook does a great job of taking care of all of our equipment, and just he's very organized. And you know, Coach Ingram does a lot of the fundraising stuff for me, and
that's huge.
Just,
I mean, you know, there's so many things. Even the film guy, even the job. You know, that was one of the things Philip said. I don't want to worry about or even think about, do we have the batteries charged for the camera and all that. Stork handling, you know, and he knew I always.
And Coach Wise does all that for us. And, you know,
but it's huge.
Yeah, it's just everybody having their role and getting that done. So I don't have to worry about it, because you got kids and parents and all that other administration that you got to worry about. So those guys taking all that stuff has been huge for us.
Well, and there's a lot of questions you get that you could write down. You could write down 1,000 questions, and still you're not going to get all the questions you're going to get out of parents and kids and faculty and fans, because they're going to think of something you haven't even thought of. And
every time.
It's just part of it. Well, let's talk about this game, because you got 2 on the road, and then you come back here, right?
That's
right. All right. So, you know, and the first 2 aren't going to be easy for you. I mean,
none of them are.
None of them are, but
there are no puppies on our schedule.
No, but they're definitely coming out of the gate. Going over to Nolensville. They were 12-1 last year is what they finished out with. Lost a lot of guys, but they're going to have a packed house. They're going to be ready. And
they got a quarterback that can spin it.
Yeah.
He's really good. He's 6'3", 205. He's got a really good arm, runs the ball well, and then they've got some speed at receiver. The tailback's a shifty little dude, and then they're what they are on defense, what they always are, and because that's what Paul does, and that's what he's good at, and so they're going to do what they do on defense. So, yeah, we're real excited. I mean, our kids have had that one kind of pegged on our schedule. Just because
that's turned into a little non-conference rivalry somewhat, even though it's not close.
Yeah, it was such a disaster last year with Brennan going down, and then everything that happened after that. It just our kids are ready to
get on the bus and come home and try to
we're ready. We're ready to overcome that and get that bad taste out of our mouth with them, and so I'm hoping we're going to be ready to go that night.
Special teams, anything that's changed on that side of the
ball?
Yeah,
Coach Argo took over our special teams, and he's doing a great job. So Dakota Crane was doing special teams last year, but he was coaching our quarterbacks. And I wanted to kind of step away so I could do an overall, with the team. I didn't get to spend much time with the defense last year, so I wanted to step away from a position, coach a position. And Coach Crane is one of my favorite guys in the whole world. And, he played for us at Siegel. He's a real go-getter. He's a great kid. He's not a kid anymore, but he just bought his second house. He had did nothing but coach quarterbacks, and he wants to be an offensive coordinator one day. And so I said, look, man, come coach the O-line, learn how to do that, and that'll make you a better offensive coordinator. Yeah. So in doing that, I knew that was going to be new for him. So we moved special teams over to Coach Argo, and so Coach Argo does a great job. He's my dude from back in the day. So he lights a fire under those guys, and so we got a few things that are different,
but you got to be good at special teams. You've got to be in this county.
And I didn't help Coach Crane out very much last year. I didn't do a very good job of making an emphasis last year, and we're doing that better this year. So hopefully special teams will be a lot better because they were not very good last year.
Anything logistically going to change as we go into Friday night? Of course, you're on the road, which makes it a nightmare because you always think I'm going to forget something, even though you could have everything packed and everything you need. Anything logistically going to change as far as Friday night and what you need to do?
I don't think so. I mean, we're going to, do business as usual. We kind of got in a routine last year, and I think we're going to stay with that. It was good for us, what we felt like it was. There's a few things. I mean, like we finally bought us a Bush Club has kind of got up and going, and they're doing a great job. But they're just a year old, our 12th man club, and they bought us a 7x16 equipment trailer that one of our dads is going to haul for us. So that's a big change as far as away games, and that's going to help us. We're able to take our gator with us and take all that extra equipment and stuff. So without taking 12 different trucks, so that's going to be huge.
It's going to be huge.
But other than that, no, I think it's going to be business as usual. And, we're just going to try to go out there and do the right things, and hopefully it equals wins.
Kids, Friday night, if you're on the Rockville Rocket fan and bandwagon, you'll need to load up and head over to Nolensville. That game is going to kick off at 7:30. 7. Yeah, 7. Let's do it right. Used to kick off at 7:30.
They're all 7 now.
Yeah, they'll kick off at 7. I'm a little off. We'll y'all be there.